Welcome back to my channel. Fair use laws are in effect, and there will be spoilers ahead. I am Old New Dude. This is Theories and Tinfoil of Game of Thrones and Beyond. I try not to have to slap my legs because they've been told I do that a lot. Last video, I promised you the prince that was promised, but before I do, I've been wanting to make a comment video, and with family members, the only ones watching in the last episode or the last video, only having 8 views and 5 of them were me. That ain't happened yet. But I did have a comment on another video. And shout out to Karen. If you watch this, thanks. I appreciate the comment. And there's that. Getting to back to the prince that was promised, that I promised last episode. Mainstream would probably make you lean towards Danny, John, Bran. Some say Jamie. Hell, I even heard Sir Pounce as a joke. But I think a little different. According to my wife, I'm an idiot, and I definitely think different. Yeah, granted that Danny checks all the boxes for the prophecy, and John checks most, and Bran probably checks a couple too, and I don't even know if Jamie checks any of them. But here's my thinking on it. You have Targaryens that have their dreams, and dragons dying and landing on top of Sir Duncan doll laying underneath it was a person. And another dragon waking at some tourney ended up being egg, just growing a pair and being Targaryen. So in these dreams, they're shown as dragons, but they end up being people. So keep that in mind, and you'll see where I'm going with this. So yeah, I think it's Gendry. And yes, I've watched all the videos of people bitching that the Cersei, Robert being the parents of Gendry, or no hell, can't happen. Maybe in the show, but still not likely. Shut up. Don't knock somebody else's tenfold just because you don't believe it. Because you can sit there and find 4 different channels, and 9 times out of 10, they still have different views from each channel. So think what you want to think. Believe what you want to believe, know what you think you know. That's my philosophy on it. As long as you're not mean and crapping on other people, I got no problem in any of your theories. None of them. But here's mine. Getting to the Cersei, Robert being Gendry's parents. The episode which talks about it in the show, which I don't quote the show very often, was written by George R. R. Martin. So maybe he relayed some information that he didn't think there was any breadcrumbs in the books, or big enough breadcrumbs for people to think that there might be more to Gendry than what was there. So there's that. In the books, she tells Ned that her and Jamie went to a woman and got it taken care of. Why don't you just drink moon tea like everybody else does? Like Lysa did. It made her crazy. I think probably crazy before she took the moon tea, but definitely messed her up some. So why would they have to go to a woman? I think the woman they went to was the tavern girl, the woman that Gendry thinks is his mother. So he's the first only true-born son of King Robert, which for a man that likes to throw his seat around like he was a Gardener King from way back when, he got no true-born sons? Well, maybe one. So yeah, I think Gendry is that the only heir, the only true-born son to Gendry. He was definitely having help in King's Landing. So they swapped a baby with a tavern woman. She probably didn't know who the baby belonged to. Got a little jingle jangle. So if he grew up in Flea Bottom, then they probably needed a jingle jangle. So what's her question? She just got a stillborn child replaced with a living child, which means that she could care for the child and all the requirements that a mother would need to take care of a newborn baby. I'm not getting too detailed about it. And she got some jingle jangle. So she dies when he's young. Now what do we do with him? Well, if somebody paid to help the change, coin, whatever you want to call it, to pay for his apprenticeship with the best, and I mean the best blacksmith in King's Landing and probably in the entire Westeros. The only one in Westeros that knew how to reforge. I think he's the only one. Reforge with their steel. So, I mean, it's definitely top of his game. So the apprenticeship is probably not cheap. I mean, it ain't like you walk down the street and said, "Oh yeah, you come with me, I'm gonna make you a blacksmith." No, I think people pay a pretty good price to have their blacksmiths trained by this guy. So yeah, I mean, so somebody with coin paid for that. And he had somebody caring enough to get him snuck out of the city. And then you had somebody care enough to try to get him back. And I don't think he was attempted to be retaken to harm him. I think it was the fact that his mother actually wanted him back because she wanted him safe. She wanted him close. I don't think it messes up the prophecy. She don't claim the child. The world doesn't know the child's hers. And I mean, Maggie the Frog could have been like this little butthead in front of me. I ain't gonna tell her about Gendry. I'm gonna tell her about the three that she lets the world know is hers, and that they're abominations and bastards. So I mean, this woman definitely saw what the woman was gonna turn into. So and she was being snarky to Maggie the Frog. So leave that little detail out. We won't hold it against Maggie the Frog. So yeah. So yeah, Cersei would definitely want Gendry back. But everybody else could be right. And I could be dead wrong. I done told you my wife says I'm an idiot. He's just Robert's bastard. And the Ghost of High Heart said that to some Targaryen king, I forget which one, there's been so many, that the Prince of Promise would be born from this bloodline. Or from this, I mean, I can't remember the exact words, but I mean, does she necessarily mean that it would have their blood, or could it be that the actions that someone in this bloodline took would cause the birth of the prince that was promised? Meaning the actions of King Aerys, which if you stop and think about it, there is a lot of young characters in this story that would not have been born if not for the actions of King Aerys. Or Prince Rhaegar, for that fact. None of Tully or the Stark Tully kids would be born, unless you think that Robb is Brandon's, which I've heard. I don't got a problem with that. I'm fine with that theory. I don't think Sansa is Ned's, but I mean that's another theory. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Bran would have been born. Let's see, Robin in the Vale wouldn't have been born, even though he's a Littlefinger's kid, not Jon Arryn's. So yeah, there's a lot of things that happened after or because of King Aerys and Prince Rhaegar that the world as we know it in the Westeros right now would be completely different. A lot of people would marry to the first person they were betrothed to. They would have different kids. Ned would still be his second son. He'd still be married to Shara Dane and raising Jon as a trueborn Stark. I mean, there's a lot going. You can do the what ifs on that all day long. But yeah, somebody of that bloodline did create or did cause the creation of the Princess Promise, the sack of King's Landing. They even say that when you put the sword in a man's hand and he's got the full battle fury on, and there's going to be plenty of bastards born that day. So even if Cersei isn't Roberts, he could have made him right after he got to King's Landing, or shortly thereafter. So either way, and I think the old powers don't really care about marriage. They even care about bloodline. So even if you take the Cersei theory out of there, he's still the son of a king. And what's the son of a king? A prince. So check, he's a prince on both sides of that theory. So yay me. You got the rebirth when he knelt in the Hollow Hill to have Lord Beric Dondarrion. I don't know his time with his name. Knight him. That was kind of his rebirth. And we know there's smoke, and somebody was cooking, so there's probably a little salt there too. Yeah, rebirth, check. Then it gets a little tricky. All right. Out of all the characters that we got, who's the actual only one that's readily available in this story that can actually make a sword by pulling it from fire as a blacksmith would? Gendry. Hey, crowd goes wild. And seeing who trained him knows some Valyrian secrets. His sword might be better than any sword in the story other than Valyrian steel swords and Dome. He might even stumble across something as close. But yeah, he can pull a sword from fire. Check. Now this next one, get back to what I was telling you about the dragons being people in the dreams, not dragons. So waking a stone dragon or waking a dragon from stone, well, you got Lady Stoneheart or Catelyn Tully. She sucks. She sucks even more in death. Well, the next time we see Gendry is through the eyes of Brienne. And the sword that stops her from being killed is by Gendry's hand, I believe. So the actions that he took by saving Lady Brienne is the reason she's still alive, to be hung up and threatened her life by Lady Stoneheart, and set on her path to find Sir Jaime. I'm running a little long on this, so we're going to wrap this thing up pretty quick. I believe Jaime and Cersei are the Mad King's children, not Tyrion, which making them have dragon blood. We know Valyrian still has a mind of its own, and it tends to make people better than they were. Or, I mean, there's a lot of theories out there on Valyrian still, and I think when you see Oathkeeper in his hand, because I'm pretty sure Brienne will return it because what she's doing to him, which I do believe Oathkeeper and Widow as well were the Blackfyre and Dark Sister. Yes, they were both forged into ice, given to the Starks for protection. They've been reforged, got the dark and red ripples. I mean, it's all there. Just put it together. But we've seen him get his ass kicked by Cersei Payne, and he's trying to get better. And you get the hints that like Corn Halfhand was better with his left than he ever was with his right after he lost fingers in his right hand. You got Sir Arthur Dayne would be able to beat all 5 of the King's Guard with his left hand while taking a piss with his right. So, I mean, definitely get some hints in there about how good people could be with his left. So I think when you see Jaime pull a Valyrian steel sword, which I think is, or I believe is tied to his bloodline, if he is a Targaryen bastard, which, like I said, I don't think being a bastard much matters when it comes down to it. Um, I think we're going to see a side of Jamie that we haven't seen. And as good as he was before, I think we're actually going to see him better. I think he's going to come alive with the fight. So the actions of Gendry saving Brienne, Brienne going to Stoneheart, and Stoneheart sending her to Jamie, Jamie in front of Stoneheart, Jamie swinging that sword around and waking the dragon within is waking a dragon from stone. So that's it. Check. Yeah, well, I like the theory. I like being different. I like thinking outside the box. So, like it, love it, leave it. Don't care if you like, don't care if you subscribe. As always, please leave a comment though. If more people watch this than family or me, but I would appreciate it. So, thank you. This is my fourth video. This is Old New Dude with theories and tinfoil of Game of Thrones and beyond. And until next time, stay safe. Bye.